Attacking Mama. Don't forget to call when you're parking. Okay. Well, yeah. Yeah, I'd like to show it, folks. It's right over here. Why is this airplane cleaned up so funny? Well, there's a story. It's on the other side of this little poster. It's another one of our movie stars. In 1954, Howard Hughes, who in addition to all the other things he did, was the president of Trans World Airlines and a movie producer and director, made a movie with John Wayne and Janet Leigh called Jet Pilot.
The fuel, the petroleum, all the fuel products are removed. All the explosive materials are served their purpose because they were early examples. They are not of much commercial value to Allied aircraft, to Allied powers. So these will be regenerated. They will. That means they will be put back on flying status. They will not be upgraded, but they will be regenerated back to the point of where they were when they came in. Then they'll be flown to a contractor in Florida, where they will be converted to drones. They will then serve as targets for fighter pilot practice until they have reached their overhaul point when they need to be overhauled, at which point they'll be shot down. I guess that we shoot the thing down. That'll be over the Gulf of New Mexico or over the White Sands Proving Ground. Coming up on our right, we'll see a whole mass of C-130s. C-130 is arguably one of the most successful military aircraft ever developed. You've all heard of Kelly Johnson, the genius who ran the Lockheed Skunk Works. He was the innovative brilliance that chop it up in little bitty pieces. It'll go onto a truck and go away someplace to become Reynolds Wrap or Coors cans. AMARC has about 800 Pratt & Whitney 4360s. That stands R4360. That stands for radial engine, 4,360 cubic inch displacement. Now AMARC has put together a group of display aircraft, which we call Celebrity Row. We'll be going down that, and you can take a look at some of the examples of storage aircraft here. Carrier-based aircraft, which could not only detect and identify a submarine, but could also attack and kill it. On your right is its replacement, the S-3B, a very similar aircraft in size and general configuration, except of course it's jet-powered and somewhat more, considerably more capable. The C-1 on your right, this was a cargo version of the S-2. It could drag a sled, a big metal sled through the water and detect and neutralize. And the guy sitting in front, the gunner sat in front, and the pilot sat in an elevated seat beside it. It was a twin-engine version of the Huey. Next to it is the Army version. It's a single engine. The Navy liked a second engine. If you're going to do a lot of overwater work, another engine is a very comforting thing. The one next to it is the Army version of the Cobra. It's so similar. It was called the Huey Cobra for a long time.
Is it a lizard?
And the C7s that were used during the Vietnamese War. The EA-6B on your right, this is an intruder. For those of you who saw the Danny Glover movie, this was the type of aircraft. This was the intruder. The actual aircraft that was used in the movie, incidentally, is left. These are Navy air superiority fighters. Interesting story on the F-114. We don't have very many of these left. We have a really nice polished one in our gallery. It was mortared, and number 3 engine was blown off the airplane. Somehow, and I think it's an amazing feat that they were able to change an engine in Kontum, because Kontum is not the end of the world, but you can see it from there. And it's a pretty primitive place. But they got an engine bolt on, and they ferried this thing down a Pleiku, only about a 10-minute flight. But when they got to the crew chief began examining the airplane, they realized that the other 3 engines had to be Operation Deep Freeze in the Antarctic. This particular airplane was the one that went on and picked up the lady doctor scientist who self-diagnosed herself with stage 2 cancer and brought her back. I presume she's still doing well. On our left, the B-57, this is the oldest airplane in the AMARC inventory. It is a Martin variation of the English electric Canberra, a very successful fighter bomber used by the RAF. This thing morphed into a number of different roles. This is a fighter bomber. We'll show you one a little bit now. Turboprop. The first one that was successful was the Vickers Vicon. We have one on the yard over there, and it was quite successful. So Lockheed came up with a competitive 3350 engines that stands for reciprocating engine of 3,350 cubic. This is a Gulfstream, and when you get to be real successful in your job, your boss will probably buy you a spiffy Gulfstream to travel around on. This is a Gulfstream 4, I believe. I'm not too sure of that. This particular airplane is painted up in the colors of the 89th wing. That's the VIP wing at Andrews Air Force Base, Maryland. It was on our right is an E8. This is a J-Stars aircraft. The J-Stars is a program developed before the current Gulf Wars. It has a large and very effective Lockheed aircraft, massive thing. On this aircraft, maximum gross takeoff weight is something north of 850,000 pounds. It will swallow 6 buses like this. The front will come up, moves up, and the back goes down like a tailgate. So if you wanted, I can imagine where you would. You could drive right through the airplane. This airplane has a capability of ours. It has been used as a tactical bomber. Remarkable airplane. I told you that one of the missions of AMAR, we were flying C-124s and C-118s at the time. We've got one in each in the yard out there. I suggest you go take a look. These are KC-135s. The Air Force uses a somewhat different technique for refueling. You see off the back of the airplane, there is an appendage which appears like winglets on it. The operator sits in a blister on the bottom of the aircraft, and he can fly that appendage down and control it. So the receiving aircraft will fly close underneath and behind the aircraft, and the operator will fly that boom down there. Then the boom itself will extinguish. Now it gets pretty hot out here during the summertime, and working outside in the sunshine is virtually impossible. But if you can get under shade, it's still tough, but it can be manageable. So coming up on our left, you'll see a 600-foot long shade port, essentially, and fairly extensive maintenance activities have been taking place under there. You'll see 3 F-16 fuselages strapped down onto pallets. They will be regenerated probably at Ogden Airport. There's some Cessna 337s. Those of you in general aviation know that as a Cessna Mixmaster, the pusher-puller. They were used. I notice a number of them are sitting on wooden stands. This is because, of course, landing gear are sort of high-maintenance items, and in many cases, parts or all of the landing gear have been removed, so the aircraft are now resting on wooden stands. Those stands are made here, incidentally. Now, if you look between these two 135s here, you can see that this is a B-57F. I promised you another version of the B-57. This is a long-wing, high-altitude sampler. It was used by the 58th Weather Recon Squadron and directed by AFTAC. C-5s, you'll see sitting on stands on the ground what looks like an aircraft wing. What that is a horizontal stabilizer for a C-5. If you look at the aircraft right behind it, you'll see that it's missing its horizontal stabilizer. That's the part of the tail that goes horizontally. So it will go over to some other use. Some C-5 is digging its tail on a hang or something. You can see these are Memphis Air Guard here. And they will be fitted into these blue bins there, and the contractor will take them off, and as I say, the crowns racks or first cans out of them. They don't get them for free. They have to buy them. Nothing goes out of A-Mark for free. Everything is paid for. One of the reasons, and so, and attempt to make a buck on the deal. One of the things they tried to do, I think, was make a SA-16, which was a Grumman twin-engine amphibian aircraft. You can see a couple examples of them sitting right there. And I believe what this guy did was buy 3 or 4 of them to try to make one complete airplane out of it and sell it, because they had quite a good commercial value at that time.
With the exception that there are planes swooping down on you and you hope to get them perfect.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's what this is probably in a restricted government research area.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that
one
one with the skulls.
Yeah, and look at the feather paint job. No, this is the